guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna film a book related video because those have been more requested and I love reading. One of my friends, Susan, also has a YouTube channel and she did this video called The Books of My Life and she talked about the books that basically just changed her life. I really like the idea of that video and I just thought that I could make one too. So here I am today talking about the books that changed my life. These are books that have been very important to me throughout my life and yeah. Let's start with the books from my childhood. I have to mention the Grimm fairy tales first because these were books that I really read a lot. These are falling apart and these are not even my favorite ones. There is 5 books in this set. So there was a set of 5 Grimm fairy tales. They were in a beautiful box, but of course I lost the box and I don't even know where 3 of these books are, and those 3 are my favorite ones. And the Grimm fairy tales were such a favorite in my childhood. I loved how honest and real and even scary they were because I really learned a lot from them. And also one of the stories is Snow White, which was like my favorite story when I was younger. She was my favorite princess, she was my favorite Disney princess, so of course that has something to do with these being my favorite children's books. But yeah, I learned a lot from these and they still have a very special place in my heart. I hope I can find the missing 3 because these books are amazing. And by the way, this set is by Torment International, 1995. Whoa, these are old. The next book is very sad. It is Bye Bye Baby by Janet and Alan Alberg. This is a very sad book about a very young boy who doesn't have a family. He lives alone, but then he decides that he wants to find a mom, a family for him. So he goes and tries to find them. Even though it's a sad story, it has a very happy, lovely ending. My mom absolutely hated reading this because she thought this was so sad and that it wasn't like a nice story, but I really loved it. I've always been a sucker for like sad stories. I don't know why loneliness has such a big effect in me. Maybe I felt I was a bit alone when I was a kid. But this book really had an impact on me, Then there is a true classic, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is a book that really made me a book nerd. I was 11 when I read this, so of course I was like, oh my god, I'm going to Hogwarts, and I was so excited about the wizards and the magic and everything. After this book, I just started reading like sci-fi and fantasy books more and more. Do I even have to talk about Harry Potter books? Because it's obvious that it has a place in this video. Of course, Harry Potter shaped me as a person as a series, but I'm showing you Philosopher's Stone because it was the first book and it's also my favorite Harry Potter book. So yeah. It just freed and let out the magic in me and I'm really grateful for this book. Then another classic, but this is not so known and popular as Harry Potter books, and it is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The Percy Jackson series is a series that I absolutely love. It is one of the best book series ever, and when I read The Lightning Thief, it just hit me really hard because Percy Jackson is very different from the other kids in his school and he doesn't fit in. He just feels like he's weird. He just doesn't fit in. But then he hears that he is not a human. He's a half-blood. He's half Greek god, half human, and he goes to Camp Half-Blood where there's other half-blood people, kids, and then the lightning, the master lightning of Zeus, the like king of Greek gods, is stolen. And for some reason, I don't even remember anymore like why people think that it's Percy who stole the lightning. And that sets a perfect crazy adventure book and a series that I absolutely love. When I was 11 or 12, I just didn't feel like I fit in. I was kind of an outsider, and reading these books just made me feel like I belonged somewhere. I actually believed I was a half-blood because I was like, oh my god, yes, it makes sense. This series really kept me company and it is still like one of my favorite series. I can't even explain why it has such a big place in my heart, but this book just really, it just stayed with me. This is crazy good, but for some reason it's not as known as Harry Potter, but it's as good as Harry Potter. The next book is Desert Flower by Waris Dirie and Kathleen Miller, and this is a book about Waris Dirie's life. This book tells her story from a very poor African girl to a supermodel and a woman who talks about women's rights. When I read this when I was about 13, 14, it made me very aware of my gender and like who I am and what my rights are. I actually saw the movie before I read the book, and I knew her story already, but this book just really hit me even harder than the movie because she actually tells the story herself. It just made me very aware of what I can do, because it's crazy how she went from a poor African girl who didn't even have a passport to a supermodel that everyone loves and adores. And being a supermodel wasn't enough for her because she wanted to do something that really helped the women in her country, and she just started to talk about the really wrong, really bad things that happen in Africa to women. It makes me feel so powerful, and I still carry this story with me because it's so inspiring and it's so like empowering. Then another very empowering, inspiring and motivating book. It's by Jensine Sarah and it's called You Are a Badass. You Are a Badass is a self-help book for people who desperately want to improve their lives but don't want to get busted doing it. This is a book I've mentioned on this channel before, in a favorites video, in a haul. I've talked about this book a lot. I read this book last year, and after reading it I was like, okay, I'm ready to hit life in the face and kick it in the butt because I am a badass. I don't think this is your average self-help book because many of them are soft and mushy and like kind of This is honest, this is real, this is raw, this is just such a great self-help book that really gives you the tools to upgrade your life. And because sometimes I might be soft and mushy, I don't need a soft and mushy book to make me even more softer and mushier. I need something that will give me and grow me a spine, and this is one of those books, and it's something that I go back to when I feel down and kind of because this really grows you a spine. It will change your life. It changed mine. I don't have the book here, but I'm gonna insert a photo here. It is Summer's Dream by Kathy Cassidy, and it's from her Chocolate Box Girls series. First of all, that series is one of my favorite book series ever. It's such a great one. Summer's Dream is about Summer, who wants to become a ballet dancer. She is a perfectionist and she just wants to become a ballet dancer so desperately that she goes very far, too far with achieving that dream. And that is why that book really means a lot to me. It's also very easy to read, but it's actually not so easy when you get into the story. And it wasn't easy for me because I was going through a lot when I was reading the book, and I could really relate to Summer. It felt really comforting at the time to read about someone who was going through the same stuff, even though I knew the character was fictional, I knew the story was fictional. Anyway, it meant a lot to me. This book was actually the one that made me realize that there was something maybe not so good going on. So yeah, that is a very important book to me, Summer's Dream. I love the whole series, but especially this book, it means a lot to me. Then another fictional book that is based on real life events. It looks very boring, but this is The Unknown Soldier by Väinö Linna. Again, I've talked about this book on this channel before, but because it's this video, it's a video where I have to talk about books that changed my life, I have to mention it again. This book is about Finnish men in the Second World War. There was a huge battle between Finland and the Soviet Union. This is a Finnish classic that everyone has to read, and I had to read it in school. I would have read this even if school didn't make me, but it was just easier this way. It might sound weird, but I don't really feel like I'm Finnish. Very often I don't feel like I belong here, and it might make me feel like an outsider sometimes, but this is a book that really for some reason just connects me into my home country. There's no war going on, we're peaceful. I don't know why this is my string that attaches me to Finland. I don't think it's the story, I think it's the characters and their dialects and how the story is told. But yeah, this is a book that really connects me to my home country for some reason, and it's just a very good book, and it has amazing characters. And also I can really see myself in the book and in the characters, and it's just great. Also, it's history and I love history, and also I know that these things have happened. Like, it's a fictional book, but it's about real life events. Then again, I don't have the book here, but I'm gonna insert a picture here, and it's Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. This is a book that really changed the way I see life, and it really encouraged me to live. Me Before You is about Lou, this English woman who starts working for a family where the son, like 30-year-old son, is in a wheelchair. The son is very grumpy, he's angry, and he needs someone to take care of him. That's where Lou comes into the picture. She wants to make him happier and enjoy life more. They end up helping each other a lot. I can't even explain this book to you and why it's so important to me, because you have to know what happens in the book to understand me. But I can say that in the end of the book there is a letter that is very emotional. There's a few lines that really hit me hard, and there's just something I want to tattoo on my body and just remind to myself every day. In a nutshell, this book just really gave me inspiration to live my life to the fullest. The last book is actually my favorite book ever, and it's If I Stay by Gail Forman. This is a book about Mia, her life, her family, her love towards music, towards her boyfriend, and everything that is going on in her life. There is a car accident that changes her life and makes her kind of see flashbacks of her life. She has to decide whether she wants to stay and live or to die. It's very hard to explain, but it is such a great, beautiful book. It's very beautifully written, and it's like I said, it's my favorite book ever. It makes you think that if something that happens to Mia would happen to you, what would you do? Would you stay? Would you go? Because it's not so easy. This is a book that really has an impact on me. I can't explain why. It makes me appreciate my life, my family, my friends, and everything that I have, because it makes you think. So those are the books that have changed my life so far. Of course, I'm gonna read more, and there's more books that will change my life, but those are the ones so far. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you have some books that have changed your life, if you think they would change mine, tell them in the comments, hit thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. I love you guys very much, and I think I'll see you next week, on Wednesday actually. Bye! See you then!